Does this sound familiar? Why can't I slow down? Why does resting feel so hard? Even when I am so exhausted. I know it has for me. Welcome to With Karen D, the podcast, the place where we get real about one truth. Good things do not come to those who wait. Good things come to those who go out and get it. And where we also get real about how we can take back control of how we show up, how we lead, how we perform, how we communicate, and ultimately how we live. I'm Karen D, your host, neuroscience backed confidence, communication, body language, and peak performance coach. And the secret weapon behind a lot of the individuals you might see on TV, leading countries, and walking on red carpets. My friend, welcome to my room. Now, today's episode is for every single person who has ever said any of these things. Resting feels so uncomfortable. I want to stop, but my brain just will not slow down. I don't know how to slow down. Or if I'm not doing something, I feel super guilty. If that sounds like you, if it sounds like a colleague or someone you love, you need to hear this because here's the truth. Stillness is not a weakness. It's strength under control. And I'm going to show you exactly why slowing down feels so hard and what neuroscience has to say about it, as well as, and this is the most important piece, how you can actually retrain your mind and body so it actually rests. I distinctly remember a time where I always had to be on the go because my personal definition of success and just like that epitome of where I want to be was defined by how busy my schedule was. And I physically felt busy all the time. And yes, I'd take time off. However, even if I booked a vacation and went on vacation, it took me days for my mind to simply slow down so I could start to relax and enjoy wherever I was around the world. And it sucked. It literally sucked. But here's what I want you to know. And it's what I had to learn. And it's also how it shifted everything for me. And I want you to hear me loudly. You're not broken. You're not bad at resting. Here's what's really happening. Society has, one, conditioned us to see constant motion as success. And our busyness has become our badge of honor. Isn't that crazy? Literal badge of honor. And the biggest thing is this. Our nervous system has now adapted to stress like it's home. And now your body thinks that stillness, that state of slowing down, is a threat, not a relief, which it needs to be. So let's break this down because once you understand it, I'm hoping that you'll never feel guilty about slowing down again. That's the key. So let's talk about the psychology of why you can't slow down. Now, this is the uncomfortable truth. Most super busy or high achieving people are addicted to being busy. And yes, I use that big A word, addicted, because it activates something or activates the same neural loops in our mind, right? And it keeps it in a loop. And here's why. Busyness gives our brain dopamine. And most people know dopamine as a happy hormone. And it is, but it's also the anticipation and reward hormone. And our brain loves checking boxes. It loves to feel productive. It loves feeling like you're moving forward. So when you're constantly getting hits of micro hits of dopamine, those little hits, rest does not give you that. So here's what happens to your brain. It says, no, thank you. It says, let's actually do something. You're too still. So we've associated stillness with danger. We've associated it with failure. We've associated it with falling behind. Now, some of us, and I include myself, some of us grew up in environments where if we weren't working, we were judged. If we paused, we were punished. If we slowed down, life became chaotic. If you relaxed, someone told you that you're lazy, or if you relax, someone told you that you should be doing more. So your body learned this. Your body learned that rest equals vulnerability. Your nervous system stored that message, and now stillness feels unsafe, not soothing. You've built an identity around being the reliable one. I know I've been there. The strong one, the go-to person, the person that gets it done, the person who has the answers. And let's be honest, a lot of your self-worth is wrapped up in performance. You've been praised your whole life for being highly productive. Does this sound familiar? You're so disciplined. You are so resilient. You've been through so much. Or, you're super reliable, or you're the reliable one. No matter where you go, you're the one person in charge. You're ambitious. You're strong. But hear me out for a minute. When was the last time someone praised you for resting? Exactly. It just doesn't happen. Now, here's where things really get real. Your nervous system gets used to your most repeated state. If your body spends most of its time in a space of urgency, pressure, solving, solution oriented, performing, overperforming, staying on top, managing in a mode of always helping someone else, building something, producing, then your nervous system thinks that this is your baseline. So here's what happens when you try and slow things down. You try to bring it down. Your body says this. Your body says, oh, hold on a second. Hold up a second. Whoa. What's this quiet thing that's happening? What is this slowness? Are we okay? Are we missing something? Shouldn't we be doing something? And this is exactly why when you sit down to rest, you feel 100% restless. When you try and take a nap, your mind starts racing. You take a day off, you feel guilty and you fill it with things to do. When you go on vacation, you literally need 4 days just to drop into that relaxation mode. That was me. And it's not because you're incapable of rest. It's because your body has been trained to operate in survival mode. And survival mode says this: don't stop. And I'm not trying to be too sciencey with you, but I really need to break down what's happening in our central nervous system. We have two systems that run our body, two main systems: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is our fight, flight, focus, or go mode in those responses. And our parasympathetic nervous system is the rest, recovery, digest, and restore side of things. Now, most super busy and high performers live in 90% of the sympathetic nervous system, the go, go, go. And your body gets good at whatever you practice. I'll say it again. Your body gets good at whatever you practice. You've practiced stress. You've practiced speed. You've practiced urgency. You've practiced pressure. You've practiced being perfect. That perfectionism? But no one has taught you how to actually take the time and practice stillness. Now, here's why rest triggers anxiety in some people. And this will sometimes shock people when I say it. When you're used to being busy, stillness feels dangerous because your body doesn't know how to literally be in that mode and be there. It's like trying to meditate after years of running marathons. Your body says, hey, where's the motion? Hey, where's the pace? Hey, what's going on? Where's the adrenaline? This is why I always remind my clients, no matter who they are, that your nervous system doesn't instantly understand rest. You have to actually train it. We live in a society where we're proud of being overworked. It's something that we talk about. It's conditioning. We've been socially rewarded for working long hours, being exhausted, and still doing the work. Hustle culture, sound familiar? Always being available. Can anyone raise their hand there? Always being available. Always saying yes. Constantly being in motion, whether you're home, whether you're not at home, whether you're in between where you should be. That limitless, ongoing motion, right? Burning out quietly and talking about burnout. And people call that dedication. They call it ambition. They call it grind. One of my wellness guru clients that I work with always says this: Karen, society has socialized us to wear busyness as a badge of honor. But busyness is not the same as fulfilled. Busyness is not the same as successful. Busy is not the same as impactful. And let's be honest, let's just tell the truth. Busy is often trauma in disguise. Yes, I said it. Busy is avoidance in disguise. Busy is emotional numbing in disguise. If we're keeping it real, busy is a lack of boundaries in disguise. You see, resting forces you to slow down long enough to face yourself. And most people have never been taught how to do that. So let's now move on to, well, Karen, this is great. What can I do about it? These are the exact practices that I use with myself, my executive clients, my celebrities, my professional athletes, and they're useful for you too. The first one is called the 30-second body check-in, right? So every single hour, here's what I want you to do, no matter where you are. Put both feet flat on the floor, drop your shoulders, loosen your jaw, and I want you to inhale for 4 seconds through your nose and exhale for 6 seconds. Then you're going to do that 3 times. And that breathing exercise alone resets your entire nervous system. That's one practice. Practice number 2 is schedule mini or micro resets. And what I mean about this is when you rest for a little amount of time, you get your body in the habit of resting. So instead of trying to rest for 3 hours, try 3 minutes. So for example, 90 seconds of quiet time before a meeting, 2 minutes of slow breathing after you finish a heavy task, or even 5 minutes of screen-free time after you finish working on a project. Just remove yourself from it. Rest is a skill, it's not an event. Here's another practice. Replace I should be doing something with my body deserves this. Language matters. Words create neural associations and pathways. So practice telling yourself a different story. We believe what we tell ourselves. I'm allowed to pause. Rest is a part of my performance plan. My body deserves calm. Stillness is a strength under control. Those statements. Another practice, start with mentally safe stillness. So stillness, like I said before, it feels threatening because it's unfamiliar to us. So start with low threat rest. These like micro things that you can do. First one, listen to calming music without having the need to also be busy on your phone scrolling or checking emails. Another one, step outside for fresh air without a plan. Just go outside and inhale the fresh air. If you can't go outside, open a window and breathe it in no matter the weather. Next, lie down with your eyes closed and breathe deeply and listen to your breath, especially if your mind races. Another one that sounds simple, but it's useful. Take a drink of water, but take slow sips. You see, it teaches your nervous system that nothing bad happens to you when you slow down. And another thing is this is huge. You have to dissociate your life and your worth to your busyness and say something like this to yourself. My worth is not tied to my output. Then ask yourself these 3 key questions. Who am I when I'm not producing? Who am I when I'm not performing? Who am I when I'm still? Asking yourself these questions and answering them will shift. It has a capacity to shift your entire life. If slowing down makes you feel uncomfortable, it's not because you're weak. I'll say it again. It's because no one taught you how to rest. No one taught you how to regulate your own nervous system or even about your nervous system. No one taught you how to feel safe doing nothing at all. But now you know exactly what's happening in your mind and you know exactly what's happening in your body, and you have the tools to change it. Remember this, stillness is not weakness. It's strength under control. You know, I remember working with a client, I'd say just a few years ago, less than 5 years ago, and they were a CEO of an organization and their schedule was filled from morning till afternoon. And what was great to see and what everyone saw from looking outside in was this gentleman was very regimented. They knew when they woke up, they knew what they did, they knew what they did for their exercise, where they needed to be, they knew when their car picked them up, they knew when the drop off was, they knew what meetings. And if you looked at their calendar, it looked incredible because he had blocked so much time. But when you actually look deep, and we did work together, there was no rest in there. You know, we often have conversations around time management, and if you can manage your time better, then you'd be more productive and you'd be able to slow down and those type of conversations. And I won't go into all of it. We hear it. If you don't have good time management, it equates to burnout. But I challenge that. And like I said, you are on the With Karen D podcast, and we're all about real talk. I challenge time management. And here's where here's something I want you to consider. Even if you're great at time management, my question to you is, where have you intentionally inserted time to rest? Because that's what matters. What matters in truth is our state of recovery. We put so much emphasis, we put so much time, so much focus into what we're currently doing, and we forget about the recovery piece. I want to let you know that for our brain, how we choose to recover is just as important as, even more important as, what we choose to do. For anyone here who's watching or listening, if you've ever experienced burnout, you know how hard it is to get out of that space. And once again, I'll say it, one of the reasons we get there is we do not take intentional time to rest. So my words to you as we close out this podcast is, what will you intentionally do? Where will you intentionally make space? Where will you make time to train your brain, your body, and your central nervous system to realize that stillness is okay, that stillness is safe? A reminder that you don't wake up and have it happen. You have to literally train yourself and microdose. I love to use that language. It's big language right now. Let's microdose. It's biohack. This is a biohacking exercise. You being intentional with the time you take away from everything. So I'm giving you some examples. How about a digital detox? And you don't have to go the extreme. Some people say, well, Karen, you know what? These are excuses in disguise. Karen, you know what? I work with my phone. I need my phone just in case of emergencies and someone needs to reach me. And I always challenge my clients with this. Listen, if you are not a doctor or a firefighter, no one needs to reach you ASAP. And I know we can agree that when we're good, when we're healthy, when we are calm, everyone around us benefits. But I want to talk about this digital detox around how simple it can get to be. So I get it. We are busy. We want to be connected. We want to be engaged. I got it. Here's what I'm asking you to consider. If you find that you can't be still, or even when you rest, you're not truly resting, or you just don't know how to rest, it's these small incremental exercises that shift everything, that form a new habit. Back to the digital detox. You can simply start by checking your phone every hour on the hour. I get it. You're busy, emails, blah, 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 blah. If you have to be online or check your emails, put on a small alarm, and every hour on the hour, this is you controlling access to these micro dopamine hits that don't actually support you. We'll talk about that on another podcast, but nonetheless, choose to check your phone every hour on the hour for 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes is up, you get to put it down. You have to put it down. Now, when you get used to that and you see that, that rest, that lack of digital, that lack of engaging time on a social media platform or on your device, how it allows your mind to rest, then you want to extend the amount of time. Then I challenge you to go to every 90 minutes, check your phone for 5 minutes. Then extend it to every 2 hours. Then extend it to every 3 hours. Then I challenge you to extend it to 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and 3 p.m. That's someone who has an average schedule. Because in truth, and I'll say it again, if you're not a doctor, if you're not a firefighter, someone needing you imminently is not a real thing. In truth, it's literally your ego talking and being fueled by you touching your phone to showcase and remind yourself that your ego is being filled and fueled around your sense of importance. As I get ready to close out, my last words to you are this: stillness is not a weakness, it's strength under control. And if no one has told you this today, you deserve rest. You deserve ease. You deserve slowness. Your body deserves peace, but it all comes by choice. I'll see you in the next episode.